And it's not just that. It's Blexit. And it's all this stuff about the Platinum Plan, and it's about criminal justice reform, and it's about tax cuts, and it's about multiracial working class populism. You ever hear of that, everybody? Let me tell you a story. I wasn't going to tell this story, but I'm going to because it's relevant. So I was supposed to host a fundraiser with Representative Paul Gosar from Arizona in Phoenix a couple of weeks ago. Now, it's a big part of why we drove out here. And once the Republican Party caught wind that that fundraiser was going to happen, they called the meeting. The leadership called the meeting with Representative Gosar. Death threats came in. Capitol Police said, we can't guarantee anybody's safety. And so we had to postpone the conference. And then Paul Gosar was called upon by Breitbart to give a comment about what had happened. And Representative Gosar said something to the effect of, well, I'm not a white supremacist, I'm not an anti-Semite, the media's going to say that, blah, blah, blah. But even for Breitbart, that wasn't good enough. Breitbart News, which was like the American Pravda for Trump back in 2016, they were pushing Representative Gosar to disavow me in particular. They wanted him, and they were begging him to disavow me and say, please disavow Nick Fuentes, say you'll never do an event with him ever again. Breitbart News. The relevance is this. We heard a rumor, unconfirmed, but we heard a rumor that the order for that article came down from Steve Bannon himself.
Alcoholic single parent.
That's right. Steve Bannon himself commissioned Breitbart to go to Representative Gosar to disavow me and say that they would never do an event with me ever again. And I see Steve Bannon on Tim Pool, and I see Steve Bannon debating people in Canada, and I see Steve Bannon all over in the media, and he's with Raheem Kassam, and he's with other people. And Steve Bannon is one of the biggest proponents of this new idea of multiracial working class populism. And, there's a word for what they're doing right now. They're lying, okay? All of that stuff, multiracial, working class populism, populist nationalism ruled the country for 100 years. That is a big load of bullshit. And everybody knows it. It is a message that offends nobody. It's a message that doesn't actually challenge the system. They still believe the same things about race that the left does. They still believe the same thing about Christianity that the left does. They believe the same thing about American identity that the left does. And that's why the Republican Party and CPAC and all of that looks like it does today. It looks like what the left was doing 5 years ago. That's why. And so I want to get into some of the reaction, if we could pull that up on the slide, to, for example, my censorship on Twitter. This is another illustration of what real cancellation looks like.